We are going to discuss how you can rock some joy when it's holiday, McHoliday of the clan, McHoliday, or teenager, three-nager, parents. Like, why sometimes everything seems to be working your last frickin' nerve. So,
And let me just preface this with I'm here as a guest, not as an expert in how this all goes well.
you're here as a human being on this planet. Yeah,
Yes.
we have
Yes. Like
experience with this.
I make no caveats that, oh yes, I have the answer, so
Yeah,
lean
right.
in.
Oh, I've got it so figured out.
Mm,
Well, one thing I do have figured out is, and you mentioned this a few minutes ago, Amber, is just taking that moment to ground yourself, to notice what's happening in this second right here. What is the weight of my laptop? How does my foot that got operated on feel as it's hiked up above practically my face, propped up? What is the quality of light in this room? Can I hear anything? What am I looking at? Oh,
yes,
I forgot to take my glasses off, so I don't have any reflection. So you can actually see more of my expressions, things like that. And that just helps us kind of check in and relax and reset and get that
absolutely,
parasympathetic nervous system out of the fight,
absolutely.
flight, freeze, fawn, human go-tos.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially like we were talking about fouling the nest. When teenagers are like, "Wow, everything's great here. I got to make it miserable so that
Let
I
me
don't
pee
feel
in my
bad
corner.
leaving." Yes. Yes. And it's just like, "Why? Why do you have to do this?" But,
Oh, the drama.
but if you have the gift of a child, then that is something that then you might maneuver, or you might be maneuvering now. And
Absolutely.
especially as the pressure ratchets up, the days are shorter, we're all getting less sunlight, and the holidays are a coming.
Yes, yes. What are we, a week out? I think part of it taps into our response system. And one of the things that I talk to people about all the time is a legend response system. Because you do have that 2 to 3 seconds when something happens with it. You
Yeah,
don't get to vote. Like you are not in charge of this space. You are just
right,
flying by the seat of your pants for 2 to 3 seconds. But then everything else kicks in.
right.
And I think that if you have anticipated, okay, I know myself, I don't deal well when the in-laws show up 15 minutes early. I would just as soon let them sit on the stoop and hang out for 13 and a half minutes as let them in 15 minutes. I know my physical reaction to that. Okay,
Mhm.
great. Then what do I do when they do? Then have this set up in a way that is in business brand aligned and even personal. What is brand aligned for me? What is the
Oh,
way that
yeah.
I don't have to apologize for this later? I'm not going to go, oh my God, that felt really good for 25 seconds. And now I'm just a turd for the next 2.5 months. Like,
Right.
this is going to be terrible. But I think having we know what flips our little switches.
Yep.
Ask them, how do we unflip them? If that's, I need 5 minutes of quiet time. And like you said, that being present in the moment, I think so often for me, the story and the time before I'm actually in the moment is so much worse than the
Right.
actual moment. It's like, okay, the family's coming. Holy crap, there's cleaning, there's cooking, there's all the things.
Yeah.
And it's so much more stressful than them being in the house and just hanging out and being okay. And if I
Right.
carry that energy into it, then then that's the story I'm telling myself, and nobody else is even sharing in that. Like, that's so self-inflicted pain. So I think, yes, I think being able to say, I need 5 minutes, and there's nobody in any situation that's not going to go, yeah, actually, honey, you maybe should take seven. Like, don't
Yeah.
just take,
Take
you just
10.
take what you need. Take what you need. We're fine.
And I
So,
like what you mentioned as far as having a plan for how it can be
yes,
successful. Like, what
yes,
if it didn't stress you out? What would that look like? Would it mean that you've got some kind of an appetizer or something out and they can divert themselves with snacking, or that you've got some other relative lined up to entertain them, or,
exactly.
even just remembering it is your choice. You may feel like you don't have a
Absolutely.
choice. However, we always have a choice.
I
you know
know. And we
this could be the
choose.
this is the first year that I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Well,
Yes. Yes.
it's that's still an okay choice. And for my near and dear, we actually already had our Thanksgiving. We just had our Thanksgiving yesterday
Oh my word. How fun.
because my partner and I do not want to add on any pressure of like, oh, now you have to make the rounds from house to house to house. Like,
Right.
no, if you want to have a holiday where it's just you, your own partner, and your kids, rock and roll.
Yes.
But
Enjoy. It doesn't have to be a cluster to be a holiday.
no, no.
It's
So we
okay.
we had ours yesterday. It was super fun. We made
Oh, so
schnitzel,
nice.
and well, they made schnitzel. I sat with my foot propped up, and
Correct. Correct. Way to be a good patient. Nicely
I,
done.
it's not easy for me. But so just having that plan and
Yes.
understanding that it is a choice, whatever it is that you have agreed to do.
Right.
And
Right.
if there is an expectation, well, what if you're wrong? You mentioned telling yourself a story. What if the story you're telling yourself is your own story and no one
Right.
else's?
Oh, yeah. I
Get
mean, I have all
curious.
kinds the imaginary fights and arguments and conversations I have with people before the event, like,
Oh gosh.
I am creating a need for therapy that really isn't there, you know? You mentioned doing holidays a little differently. One of the things we did early on, it's probably been 15 years, my partner and I, because of the who gets the holidays and where do we go to the in-laws, we're like, okay, well, this just sucks. And the food's not what we want to eat. We have had a feast for wayward souls in our home for 15 years.
I love it.
If you do not have a place to go, or if you have a place to go and oh my gosh, you don't want to go there,
Mhm.
or if after you have been there, you need to come and chill and have punch and pie. This is what we do. And we rarely do traditional
I
for
love
that
it.
particular. We pick a country, we pick a type, and we just create whatever sounds good, and all are welcome. So there is no drama. There is just like it's
That's
just so,
beautiful.
and it's the decision we made going, you know what's worse? This little bit of a conversation of we're not doing Thanksgiving with the fam.
Mhm.
This is what we're gonna do. We chose it, we planned it, and it's just been remarkable for, a decade and a half. It's
That's
wonderful.
fantastic. I love it.
Yes. Yes. And then
Yeah.
those little people who, like I said, those who are like, "Ah, it's the weather's crappy. I don't want to drive 5 hours," or there's drama going on, or it's just unavailable, and you don't, come hang out. We're gonna play cards and have punch and pie. It's all good.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%. That's a great plan. And also you mentioned driving.
Yeah.
When I working with someone who they were tired of packing up the kids and driving the 3, 5, however many hours it was to the one set of parents, and so they finally said, "You know what? We either have to drive this many hours to get to these parents or this many hours to get to those parents. How about this? Y'all wanna come over? Come on over." And the parents pushed back saying they didn't want to waste the time in the car.
Oh, hoisted by their own petard.
Exactly.
They allow
And
us to just not spend time in the car.
so then rather than get
Ah,
frustrated and be like, "Oh, now I still have to go there." Au contraire, mon frère. What if you just say, "Yeah, it is really tough. So let's just take a break from it."
yeah. One of the lessons we learned through the pandemic where everything was done virtually
Mhm.
is there's a lot of gatherings that can be done virtually.
Yeah.
It's that email that could have been a meeting, but we made it into an email. This is that gathering of stress and driving and trauma that can be done over Zoom. Nobody has to put on shoes. Yay! And everybody just hangs out to the level that they want to engage.
That's
And
gorgeous.
I mean, we've made sushi, simultaneously made sushi on different kitchens across the state. Just put up the TV, put up the little Zoom computer, and be like, hey, and we're just having conversations. And it's just so easy and so relaxing. Like, there's just
Yes.
do it your way. I think part of the obligation and the stress comes from this is how it's supposed to be done. And oh my
Right.
gosh, if anybody has spoken to me more than 45 seconds, they know there's no one right way to do anything. Do it your way.
No.
Make it so that it makes sense to you and lights you up.
Right.
I mean,
And
oh my gosh.
also, let's go back to the basics. If we have this vision of some kind of perfect holiday, right? The
Right.
Aristotelian ideal, the
Right.
Platonic ideal of a holiday. Well,
Yes.
that involves getting other people to do what you want. And I'm here to say the success rate of that ranges from 0 to 0% because people are going to do it if that's what they want, or
Correct.
they'll show up with a tude because they don't want to deal with your, whatever you're
Exactly.
spewing afterwards.
Right.
And is that how you want people to gather? Like, is
Right.
that the hill you're dying on? That we
Right.
all have to be in the same room and eat the same foods for the last
At the same
45
time,
years? What?
why? Why?
Why?
Like, I can love you big and not have to put you through that, you
Exactly.
know? So
Yeah,
let's you eat your ham sandwich, I'll eat my ham sandwich, well, I'll eat my veggie spread of some kind, and
exactly.
we'll be fine. And I don't have to worry about your picky kids. You don't have to worry about mine. I don't have to worry about your allergies or your weirdness or the fact that I love cilantro and things, and I have a nephew that's got that thing that
Oh,
where it
I
tastes
have
like
that too.
soap.
It's terrible. It tastes like
Oh,
soap. It's
honey.
gross. It's so nasty.
Oh,
And I see
oh, I'm
people
so
enjoying it, and I'm like, man, that would
sorry.
be nice.
It really, I am sorry. But again, I can put as much as I want to into my food because I
Go
know my
for it.
sweet nephew doesn't have to deal with it.
Exactly.
It it really is. I don't know. If ever there was a win-win, I think it feels like just if everybody gets to do it their way, and if your way is coming over to my house, then awesome. I may
Yeah.
or may not clean it before you get here. And oh yeah, I have dogs, and they love you, and everybody goes home with a little bit of hair. So deal with it.
Well, and also, like, I'm not going to get on my hands and knees and make sure there's no dust on any floorboard. So
No,
if that's what you need to relax and enjoy a holiday, don't come over to my house.
right, right. No,
I mean,
set
I'll have
expectations.
delicious food, but it's not going to be immaculate.
Exactly. I'm not going to ask you to eat off the floor either.
Right.
The surfaces with food will be clean. I
Yeah.
mean, we have a clean household, but it just, I think setting expectations for yourself and for others, setting boundaries. I mean,
Yeah.
and realize perfection is a myth anyway. I think you and I have talked about that. Like,
Hmm.
perfection is not a thing.
No.
So I believe that if there's no blood spilled, I think that's a success, you know?
Perfect.
Like,
And
that's a good event.
and there could also be the odd nosebleed for no reason, and that's okay
You're
too.
right. You're
You
right.
know,
No,
like
no broken bones. If there's no
100%.
paperwork, really, I think it's an avoidance of the paperwork. That is a succse.
If nothing has to be reported to any agency, whether it's in the ER or the police department or whatever,
Oh my
let's
gosh.
just stay away from that. But
I think
yeah,
that's a good goal.
and that's a great goal, and it's also a funny story if you don't wind up avoiding that.
Now, see, there's the other thing. I I've maintained forever that you should go for the story.
Yeah.
My spouse and I went to New Orleans for our 20-year anniversary, I think, and it was lovely. And we just ran away from home, and it was wonderful. But we ended up at this restaurant where we got there, and it was empty, like nobody, because they had just had a brawl. There was some girl in the bathroom, like everything that could have gone wrong had gone wrong to this
Aw.
restaurant. Here we were just wanting to have dinner.
Yeah, wandering in.
And yeah, and as we're sitting there and can we get this and this? Actually, we're out of that. We're out of that. And we looked at each other and we went, go for the story, man. We didn't come here to have perfect mashed potatoes.
Right,
We
right.
came here for an event. We came here for an adventure. Go for the story. So yes, if you end up having to file paperwork with someone, go for the story because then it'll be that. Remember that year that da 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 da. And it can be you
Exactly.
can laugh about it and you can love and be connected that way.
And just also the joy of laughter, the weirder and squirrelier things get, the more opportunity you have to really belly laugh about it.
I was just gonna ask you, like, think it to yourself. When was the last time you had an honest to God belly laugh, like out of your clothes, contagious like crazy, belly laugh?
Right.
We as a human species do not do that enough. I
Oh,
don't
we need
think.
to do it as much as we can.
Talk about finding your joy. Find those little
Yes.
things where you're like, dang, that's just awesome. And let it roll. Don't try to cut it short because you think you're taking up too much time from somebody. Like, just let it
No.
roll. They can join in if they want to, or they can just
Cheers.
appreciate that you are having a moment.
Absolutely. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're not in the danger of giving yourself hiccups laughing, then are you really laughing? Like, come on. Because the
Have,
ridiculata of living is extreme.
oh, yes. Oh, yes. Have you ever laid on the ground on your back and
Yeah.
tried to stop laughing?
Oh, there's no,
You
that's
you
impossible. How
can't.
could you?
Yeah. You can't get enough oxygen or something. We did it in college and we're like, I can't believe this is actually a thing. You cannot stop laughing. Once you get started and you're laying on your back, it's impossible. So if you need a good laugh, lay down.
That's perfect. And also, it's proof of what our subconscious does. If we say, I don't want to laugh, or I don't want to
Mm.
deal with X, Y, or Z, all that's happening is our fundamental subconscious is just hearing that thing. It doesn't pick up the
Ah,
not.
you're
So
right.
if you're
You're
saying
right.
don't laugh, you're going to get the giggles because it's really silly for one to tell yourself not to laugh. Why not? You know,
Right.
And also just pay attention to those kinds of things because whatever you ruminate on, your subconscious is like, got it. You want
Yeah,
difficult relative interactions? I got you. I will
delivered.
point out every single one. I will invite you to engage on stuff that you don't care about just so that you can make someone mad. Yeah, I mean, like,
Yep. Just to confirm your story,
yeah,
confirm this god awful story that you've told yourself. When really,
exactly.
oh, my friends, unclench. Life is too
Exactly.
short to be that serious.
Yes. Because life is hilarious. I mean, like, I just
Yes.
paid somebody a bunch of money to break my foot and put it back together. What's that? What?
Oh,
Like,
and so now you get to sit there and, okay, but wait, positive side, you don't have to cook then. They really did make the schnitzel. You didn't have
they
to do
really
that.
did. They really did. Yeah. Yeah. It was
And
great. Like
you,
I hobbled around with
wow.
my boot on and I straightened up a few things. You know, put my maybe I had a cart of craft supplies in the dining room. Whatever. I wheeled it back into my office. We didn't need
I,
the hot glue gun. It was fine.
oh my gosh. But you're right. The ridiculousness of life, of this experience. Oh my gosh. Enjoy the story. Roll with
Ah,
it. Laugh through it.
that is
Just,
gorgeous. And that
yeah.
is where I would love to leave this today. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening in. I would love to hear any hacks, tips, or tricks that you have for getting through when times are a little wonky, a little uncomfortable, or downright terrible. What can we do to pull ourselves along? Let's come together. Hugs, hugs, hugs.